I am Brandon, aka Porkchop. I play Noella, the female cleric, Asmir. I have been playing for roughly about 5 years now, I'd say, and the entire time I've been with the D20 Misfits. The very first character I ever made was Porkchop. He was basically big slashing barbarian. Point and click, he kills, and that's the first character I made because I basically it's a long story. I won't tell you though. The second character I made was Noella. She is the female cleric Asmir. She is, at one point in time she was Miss Goody Two Shoes, blah blah blah. And I made her because somebody has to keep these idiots alive. I would say that Noella has a lot of fighting in her own mind, basically. A lot of turmoil. She's always trying to kind of choose between, technically kind of between good and evil, but it's not really between good and evil in the same sense. She's just, I really don't know how to put it truthfully. She has a lot of really dark past, basically, and I relate to it a lot. So that's pretty much the way that we relate pretty well. By far, I'd have to say Porkchop. I loved the damage that he could deal. I loved his sense of humor. I loved everything about him, honestly. He was a really cool character to play. Like I said, he was point, click, kill. And he would also make you in complete hysterics from laughing your ass off at half the random shit that he said. So, he would definitely be my favorite character. It's important to me because a lot of people have a different way of coping with things and therapy and whatnot, and I feel as if D&D is my therapy. It is my release of this obnoxious ass real world that we live in, and that's why I play it. It's important to me because at least once a week I get to go and be in a fantasy world that isn't this world. That's basically it. I'd say the difference that it brought in was more of getting to be around people. Um, I'm always kind of like to be the center of attention, truthfully. I'm a little conceited whenever it comes to that. But I also hate being around people in the same sense. So it gives me a chance to go and be around my friends for a few hours and get to shoot the shit with them, basically, and have a little bit of fun. Well, if that isn't the DM asking a question, if I've ever heard one, it's the most conceited thing I've ever fucking heard. But sorry, she's not going to record that part. Um, our DM Frank has been a very good friend of mine for many and many a year. Um, we started out haunt acting together, and his storytelling is just it's amazing. Like, it really is. The stuff that he can come up with off the top of his head is out of this world. And even the stupid things, like coming down to the music choice that he chooses for, like, the background music and shit like that, it's always on point. Like, he can make you feel every emotion possible. So I will definitely say he's a fantastic storyteller. That last question, we're striking it from the record, right? The beginning of it, because I don't want him to bitch hearing me say it. Okay. favorite thing about my game sessions, I believe, is just the camaraderie I have with the people that I'm sitting around the table with. Whatever you can get the group of people that we have together in one area, there's going to be some type of shenanigans happening. Sadly, I cause most of them, but that's also besides the point. Yeah, like literally getting us all together is like watching a tornado form. It really is, and it's a blast to do so. Yeah, I don't even like the only word that I can think of that comes to mind is fuckery. Um, I'd have to say probably the the under the big top. That was pretty cool. It was one of the first moments to where we got to realize that shit is going to go awry and very fast. Um, Also, in my everyday brain, I'm an agent of chaos, and I like chaotic things. And that moment was probably one of the most chaotic things that's happened. Um, I mean, it's definitely not the most chaotic, but it's the one that stood out the most. There was a lot of shit that happened that day. That's for sure. I'd have to say my favorite place is probably the Blue Water Inn, just for the simple fact of that is one of the times that I got to see Havela at the time. I got to see her act completely foolish, which was hilarious. Um, Sibinak, who couldn't get drunk at all, was just as drunk as she was, basically just mimicking what she was doing. And Noella was pretty tipsy herself, so that was probably really cool. I like that part too. Well, if that isn't a loaded question in itself, um, Noella absolutely has a lot of moments that are her least favorite. But I would say that my all time least favorite moment was meeting the little prick we call Puck and him taking away my daughter. I would say the funniest moment out of any campaign that we've done would be whenever Porkchop met, or not really met, but whenever Porkchop was crushing real hard on Shy's character. Um, had one of those moments where Porkchop was, along the lines of talking to somebody else and was kind of confessing his love to her. Like I've said before, Porkchop was the big brooding barbarian, so his, he had big strong muscles, but the brain wasn't one of them. He was confessing his love, and then her man walked in, and Porkchop was just like, oh, duh, oh shit. But it was okay, because Porkchop could have kicked his ass anyway. I can say I think the saddest story arc that I've experienced was last campaign. Um, Porkchop and his fellow companion, um, they kind of they kind of dicked everybody over at the very end. Um, Porkchop was a very family he liked his family, and he just for him to do something like that, to turn his back on everybody, was a really sad moment. It was a definitely a big fuck you to the DM. I still to this day I'm like, man, don't know why the hell I did that. So um yeah, by unpopular opinion, my favorite villain that I've encountered was Strahd. Just for the fact of Noella feels like she could kind of relate to him because of him battling between good, evil, light, dark, blah, blah, blah. And she's really intrigued by him. because she wants to know what exactly it was that pushed him to the breaking point. What exactly it was that pushed him over the edge, so she can stay the hell away from it. I'm going to have to say that my favorite NPC would probably be... It's a toss-up between Rue and Al. I liked Al for the way that he presented himself and the way that he was. He was a badass, that's for sure. I liked him. But Rue was real noble. He was very helpful. He was altogether a really good guy. But if I had to pick between the two, bad side of me says Al. I'd say watching Sibinak go from his metal form to becoming the orc that he is now. He basically ascended from being a completely cold-hearted, non-feelings, non-emotional person to being a cold-hearted, non-feeling, non-emotional person. Yeah, never mind. No, not that one. There's a different one that I'm going to talk. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking. Shut up, Mr. Picklestead. Calm down. I would have to say probably the story between Havela and Sibinak. How them two met each other. How she was, running from the Red Wizards and whatnot and stumbled across Sibinak's body, blah, blah, blah. It's a really cool story arc. I like it because it's very well thought of. And it has a lot of emotions. Yes, emotions. What I'd like to see happen in this campaign is for us to make it out alive. Sick of losing people. It's really taking a toll on Noella's mental state, which is fragile as glass at this point in time. Anyway, I would love to see us make it out alive. I doubt it's going to happen, but yeah. I feel as if my prediction for how this campaign will end will be in a bloodbath of a fight. It is going to test our wills. It's going to test our might, our mettle. It's going to test everything about us, especially with Frank DMing. But that's what I expect to happen. But either way, whatever happens, Sibinak's getting a big old kiss right on the mouth hole. Well, thank you for... Shut up. I will not tell you again. I am Pork Chop. You're Mr. Pickleston. Sheesh. Sheesh. But, thank you. Thank you for sitting here, conversating, shooting shit with the old Pork Chop, aka Noella. It has been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure hanging out. And hopefully you enjoyed everything I said. If I made you laugh, let me know. If I didn't make you laugh, don't fucking tell me. But, have a good one.